Alright, let's dive into something that's been sitting in the what-if pile of Hollywood history for way too long. Peter Jackson's scrapped Planet of the Apes movie. Yeah, the same Peter Jackson who brought Middle-earth to life almost took us back to the ape-ruled world. But here's the kicker. It didn't just fall apart. It imploded in the most fascinating way. So, let's break this down and explore why this project is still worth talking about decades later. First off, what makes this really interesting is the sheer ambition of Jackson's vision. He wasn't just planning another ape movie, he was crafting the renaissance of the Planet of the Apes. Picture this, Roddy McDowall, the OG Cornelius and Caesar, returning as a Leonardo da Vinci-inspired ape. Personally, I think this idea alone is genius. It's not just a callback to the franchise's roots, it's a reimagining of what the series could have been, a blend of historical homage and sci-fi innovation. What many people don't realize is how much McDowall's presence would have anchored the film in the original series' legacy while pushing it into uncharted territory. But here's where things get messy, and by messy, I mean Hollywood messy. Jackson had a first-look deal with Miramax, and he was juggling multiple projects, including King Kong and The Lord of the Rings. If you take a step back and think about it, this was a director at a crossroads. Which path does he choose? The ape-filled Renaissance, or the epic fantasy trilogy? We all know how that turned out, but what this really suggests is how one decision can alter the course of cinematic history. Imagine if Jackson had gone all in on apes, would we even have the Lord of the Rings films as we know them? Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the gorilla. James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger got involved. On paper, that sounds like a dream team, right? But from Jackson's perspective, it was a nightmare. He felt he'd lose creative control, and honestly, I get it. Cameron is a powerhouse, and Schwarzenegger is, well, Schwarzenegger. What makes this really interesting is the clash of egos and visions. Jackson wanted his story, Cameron wanted Charlton Heston back as Taylor, and suddenly, the project became a tug-of-war. This raises a deeper question. How often do great ideas die because too many chefs spoil the broth? A detail I find fascinating is how this project reflects the broader struggles of reviving franchises. Hollywood spent decades trying to bring Planet of the Apes back to life, and Jackson's attempt was just one of many. Eventually, we got Tim Burton's 2001 reboot, which, let's be honest, was a mixed bag. But it wasn't until the modern trilogy, Rise, Dawn, and War, that the franchise truly found its footing. From my perspective, Jackson's scrapped project is a reminder that not every revival needs to happen, but when it does, it needs to be the right one. So, what's the takeaway here? Personally, I think Jackson's Planet of the Apes movie is a perfect example of what could have been, a bold, innovative take on a beloved franchise. But it's also a cautionary tale about creative control, competing visions, and the challenges of reviving iconic stories. If you take a step back and think about it, this isn't just about a scrapped movie, it's about the choices that shape the films we love. And honestly, that's what makes this story so compelling. What do you think? Would Jackson's Apes movie have been a game changer, or was it better left on the cutting room floor? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear your take.